All right. Hi. I have not titled this live, so it will be really interesting to see how it works. I'm using new technology. Just having a see. I was not able to put a title on this, which is really interesting. So let's see if I can do that via Facebook itself right now. If there's anybody here, hi. I'm going to edit the post and put in a title here. So, hi guys. Let me just put this in here. And anybody watching this as a replay, you can fast forward through this part. I'm on here. There's 3 people. This is amazing. We're 1 minute 27. Hi, Marie. So this is new for me. I'm on new technology. As you can see, there's a camera here, which is an HD camera. It's a Logitech camera. It's new. So when I'm talking, you'll be looking here. When I want to see your messages or who's on here, I'm going to be looking in this direction. Hi, Ingela. Athena. Beautiful. It's all new. And if you see also down here, wait, let me see, right there, is my website link. That's new. That's because I'm using something called Ecamm. Not right now. What is it?
I want to show you something.
Okay, cool. And over here is, over there, is my logo. So there's new tech here. I'm going to work on getting that smaller and putting it higher up, but just introducing you to those things. Again, if you're a replay viewer, you will probably want to fast forward through that part. I also have on my computer behind me my notes, a little bit of notes. I don't normally do these videos with notes, but because of this topic, I really want to make sure that I do have my notes. And it's funny because I can share them with you. Let me show you that. First, I have to find you again. So I could share my screen with you, which then you don't see me, which is funny. But there, okay, so there's moving all those things around. So these are the notes. These would be what I'm looking at, but I'm going to put myself back on here, move this thing back there. Isn't that cool? Hi, Michelle. Like this technology is really interesting. It makes me a little bit nervous. I'm sure you guys can tell because I don't know where to look or what to do, but I'm just figuring this out as I go, right? Groping in the dark, finding my way. Hi, Malak. And I will have to look back and forth because I haven't figured this out unless I can get this directly in front of the camera. A little bit better that way. Welcome. Thank you for coming. This live video, I wasn't sure if I should do it live or not because it's a topic that requires my full presence to talk about. So what brought it up for me, actually brought it up, I'm just going to open the door. What brought it up for me, oh, but it's really loud out there, so maybe I won't. So last night, as I was laying in bed, thank you. I'm a little bit sick, as you can hear, and so I've been having a little bit of trouble sleeping. So I've been having these really lucid states at night, like where I'm like half awake, half asleep, and I'm able to navigate some really cool things for myself. But what was happening was, as some of you might know, about 10 days ago, I was staying in an Airbnb. And the first night that I was at the Airbnb, someone tried to break into the house. Now, I know the whole background of what happened, but at the time that somebody was trying to break up into the house, the adrenaline rush was intense. Like, I couldn't sleep. I still feel it. Like, just talking to you guys about it, I feel the adrenaline. Like, I feel that. I have a memory of that. And so I have been being really gentle with myself and applying what I call emotional medicine to the process. And in that process, one second. Quinn, weißt, kannst du das vorausbringen? Der Laila und ich sind voraus. Willst du spielen? Ja, aber du kommst das nicht über. Okay, dann gehst du in dein Zimmer, wenn du so spielen willst. Das ist gut. I apologize. Maybe I'll be able to cut this part out. So, or not. Again, I'm just groping in the dark. My children are here. It's Sunday morning. This is just part of this. And I'm saying that not just to you, but to remind myself that I can relax even with the noise in the background. Funnily enough, it has to do with what we're about to talk about today. So I had this experience with this person trying to break in, and it brought back to the surface my own auditory sensitivities. So I live with auditory sensitivities. I have all my life, but I've found a way to navigate and live with them and really feel like they're a superpower, and figured out ways to self-soothe. I think I wrote that here, right? Let me see if I can shrink this down so I can see all of you. Pardon me as I'm getting used to the new technology. So let me see if I can move this over. I'm not the most tech savvy human being, but I'm doing my best. I'm in a big learning curve right now. So I figured out ways in my life to self-soothe, how to play with the noise in a very spatial way, whether I'm in a crowded restaurant or in a big crowd of people or just at home with my kids playing and all the noise that happens that reverberates off the walls here. How I know when it's time for me to take my physical body out of the situation and when to pull inside and just be okay right here, right now. And most importantly, when it comes to emotional medicine, is that I no longer feel like I'm under attack from my environment. That to me was like the worst part. It was feeling like I was under attack by my physical environment, by the sounds of my physical environment, by the feeling like I was being punished somehow because I could hear at such an intense level. So the background to all of it. It used to be really stressful to be me, to be at a level, like, and my sensory, the auditory, I feel really sensitive to it right now, right? I feel I still feel the adrenaline rush from what I just spoke about, and I feel the sensory, it's like an irritation. Like my son is about 5 meters away from me and he's playing and he's not really loud, but to me it's like it's right here, the sound, right? It's like it's here. It's as if there's no space between me and him, right? It's like when sounds are coming in, there's birds outside through double pane window. Well, it's a little bit open and I can hear that. I hear a plane as if it's inside my house. So it's just like this, it can be like intense auditory overdrive. Another way I like to express it is it feels like hyper intensive vigilance through my ears. And this can create all kinds of stuff. And some people would say, oh, you're on the autism spectrum. It's something I've never resonated with. I just feel like this is just a part of being me, and it's not something that I talk to many people about. I'll just give you an example of what's happening to me right now. This is a really important topic. I was laying in bed, and I got this really clear, you need to share this. And my son is digging through a box in the other room. I'm sure you guys can hear him too, but it's like, I don't know where to place my attention, on you, who I'm talking to, or on the sound, right? And so it starts to be frustrating. I start to feel overwhelmed. I start to not know where I need to place my attention, right? And I didn't know when I hit record on this that it was going to be so actual for me, right? This teaching, as I teach it to you, I can explain to you the situation for me. And if you know anybody with auditory sensory sensitivities, I would love if you would share with them this video and what I'm about to share. Because I'm kind of in an episode, which is really interesting and a very unique perspective. So, I did a post on it. I just liked it. So it can make you feel, it can make you isolate when you have this auditory sensitivity, and it can come up from a trauma. You can have it as a part of your being, like I do. It can come from a trauma. I was traumatized by this adrenaline rush by somebody breaking into the house a week and a half ago, and it it exploded in me, this auditory sensitivity. And I have been on the road of using what I call emotional medicine to soothe myself, to bring myself back into feeling like I'm okay. I'm not under attack. This is a part of my lived experience. I'm not trying to get rid of it. I'm not trying to cure it. I just want to live in peace with it, right? And so I want to take you through some processes that I apply in order to be okay. Even though, right now I feel like the sound of him digging through that box is scraping up the back of me and up the back of me. Like, it's insane. I'm starting to sweat. I'm but at the same time breaking out in goosebumps. So the first thing I do is I accept that this is what's happening. I am not trying to deny it. I'm not fighting it, right? The fighting it, like when I just took a breath, I accepted that this is my reality right now. I didn't, when I fight with the noise, or I fight with wanting to give you guys and myself my full attention, and I pull in two different directions, like, and I separate from myself. So the first thing is, it's okay. It's okay. This is my reality. It's true for me that this is what's happening. And I feel myself kind of shaking, and I just recognize my symptoms. So I'm shaking. It's okay. It's okay that I'm shaking. It's okay that I'm overwhelmed. It's okay that at the moment I feel like, should I be talking about this? Like, should I really be exposing myself this much? Should I, a part of me wants to like scream at my child, tell him to shut up, when, I mean, he's just over there. He's playing very quietly, but it's just so intense for me. Yeah, well, they could be a part of auditory sensitivities, right? And I really truly believe that we all are, and I see it as a superpower too. You know, now I do, because I have the ability, which I'm going to walk myself through this apparently today. I had no idea this was going to be the lesson, but I'm going to walk myself through how I will come back from this intense experience I'm having right now, how I will bring myself back to myself, no expectations. I'm doing this out of curiosity. I'm on a path and an experience, and I'm just going to flow with it. So the first thing you have to do in emotional medicine or emotional alchemy in general is accept. It's like, this is what's happening right now. I'm on camera live on Facebook, and I'm feeling irritated by the noises around me because I can't focus on you, right? Which brings up overwhelm. It brings up anger towards my children for doing nothing but being with their children. It brings up feelings of being inadequate, of being a freak, of wanting to really retreat and like turn this off and take it off the internet and like pretend like it didn't happen, right? So this is the emotional part of what's happening for me right now. There's a very physical aspect. There's a mental mind aspect, which is what I just told you, these thoughts. And there's a very emotional aspect to what I'm experiencing. So emotional medicine is accepting all of it. I accept my thought process about this. I accept that this is happening. I'm taking deeper breaths. You notice I was holding it there for a second. So I'm just becoming more aware of my environment, which means for a moment it's going to become more intense. Just accepting this moment, this experience, this auditory experience. And right now, physically, it's sitting right here. Really intensely, it's sitting right here. So I'm just going to soothe myself. I'm going to do what feels good. That allows me to feel more grounded. Because and I just took my feet off the chair and put them on the floor. And I'm just grounding myself. Okay, here I am in this body. I'm here, right here in this space in front of you. I'm not over there in the room with the noise. So to a certain degree, I've moved myself into my body, and now the sound becomes just a part of my experience and not in my face. Plus, it's gotten a little bit quieter. There, you hear it. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it, but he's just digging in the box, digging up toys, playing. My body starts to relax. I feel like I'm taking deeper breaths in my belly. I'm just soothing myself right now. So it looks like this. It looks like putting my feet on it. It looks like saying, it's okay. Some people who aren't aware, who are going through this, they'll start to like shake they'll be like sitting at a table and their leg will be shaking, they'll like move their knees or move both their legs. It's a way that we try to shake off the energy, the intensity. You feel like not a finely tuned tuning fork. You feel like a chaotic tuning fork when this is coming in. And so what I'm doing is bringing myself down to like a very clear tuning fork. And by doing that, I ground myself, right? I just soothe. It's the first step. I self-soothe. Just, that means rocking, if that means holding, if that means crying, if that means allowing the overwhelm, then that's what the soothing means. And in this place where I'm at, I would not suggest the spatial awareness exercises, but I'll share those with you. Because if I tried to go into like a spatial awareness exercise right in this agitated state, it would just get more agitated. So the spatial awareness, I'm on a video, what's up? Okay. Spatial awareness exercises are to be done when you're calm, but I'll tell you what those are in a second. So there's this desire to run right now, to kind of pull within myself, to exit the external input, both the input from paying attention to your comments, the input of my kids walking around the back, the input of there's like some music playing outside. So just bring myself into like this space. So I'm not like expanded space, I'm now contracting space into me, right? So when I'm auditorily overwhelmed, I'm usually like, it's weird. I extend external to myself, like I hear everything. So I'm just slowly, as I'm talking to you, bringing myself back in, to pulling in and allowing myself to pull in and to feel afraid. And this is intense, man. Yeah, it is intense. It's like basically telling myself, I believe you, and I'm not going to fight it. Because there's a big part is like, I shouldn't be this way. I should be able to be calm all the time. Noises shouldn't bother me. I'm strange. All these things, right? I'm just checking what I wrote. All right. So sometimes I have just relaxed myself as much as I can at this point. I'm not going to push myself too harder. I feel a little bit more in alignment in my own body. When do you know when would I actually need to leave the environment, right? Like go outside, go for a walk, or put in either earplugs or like a big ear muff thingies, or just put in ear with music. Like if the kids are playing really, really loud and I just can't, I plug something in that's like a white noise that allows me to come back down. That's exiting from my environment. I'm still here, but I can plug in, plug out, right? That's something I do if I'm in a really, it's very rare anymore that I need to leave a restaurant or like a public environment because I practice spatial awareness. And right now, for me, it's just ratcheted up because of this experience, right? This trauma to my adrenaline system that happened 10 days ago. It's running itself out. So it's more intense for me. But I've been practicing spatial awareness and everything I'm talking about, I've been practicing for a really long time. And it's really just been a natural thing for me. And knowing what I know about emotions is how I started to apply this things to it. So it's first allowing the emotion. So while I was feeling agitated and I started to shake, the shaking was a sign of me fighting my anxiety and fighting my fear and fighting that it was happening. You'll notice that my hands are steady now. I'm no longer fighting it. It doesn't mean I don't feel anxiety and I don't still feel like a little bit of the heat rising here or that I'm still not sweaty, but it's like there's an acceptance. I've just said, okay, this is what's going on. I surrender. I'm accepting it. And it's like, if you only get that one step, it will change your life and it will change your experience. It's okay. I'm okay in this anxiety. I'm okay in this agitation. I'm okay even though I feel like all the noise in the world is going to kill me right now. I'm okay. Thank you. Isn't it cool? I mean, like, this technology stuff is amazing. So here is the HD camera connected to my laptop. Here's my laptop where I see you guys in my notes. And at the bottom, there's the text. There's probably a watermark of Ecamm also on it for you guys to see it. That is, I'm a 7-day trial. I'm trying it out, but I really, really like it. So I think I'm going to pay the $30 lifetime fee we get it so that I can come at you live like this all the time. So the first one is surrendering and accepting that this is the way it is for me right now. And not letting my mind play out the games that I'm going to be like this forever, or I've always been like this, but just I'm right here. So I haven't had to leave an environment in a very, very long time. And sometimes like in a really noisy place, I focus. So I focus on the person I'm talking to, and I focus really clearly and really intently. This also helps me to exercise my vagus nerve, which is a whole other subject, and we can talk about that later. Hi, Alexandra, Kristen, Michelle, Ahmed, Dilip, if you're all still here. Hi, Fran. Moksha Morga. One of my children just woke up. So I only need to leave an environment if I'm not accepting that I'm going through what I'm going through. And, or if it becomes really clear for self-care. Like I remember being at a retreat and being in a restaurant, and it really, I couldn't decipher. So I just took myself out and went to my room for half an hour. I took some space, and then I could go back, and it was no problem. But often we don't think that we can just get up and leave, or go for a walk, or get a breath of fresh air, or take a moment to breathe deeply. And we can do that either by leaving or by sitting in it and just really retreating inside. And often we won't do that because we don't want to be seen as strange or weird, when for me it's the most natural thing to do. And if anybody has issues with it, then I can either explain to them what's going on, or just be like, I just need a minute to myself. So, okay, the most important aspect, this is another part of emotional alchemy, and emotional medicine, is coming into right relationship with what you're experiencing, whether it's an illness, an injury, a trauma, whatever, is coming into what I call right relationship. And right relationship means I'm not making it my enemy. Do you guys hear the cereal being poured? Like it's just like right up in my face as if it's right in front of me, right? Fascinating. So fascinating. And I'm just accepting, I've been, I get like knocked out, and it's okay. So, I did not realize this is going to be like this. Oh, let me accept that too. So, the thing that can ratchet up auditory sensory, and this can be applied to if you're touch sensitive, if you're visually sensitive, all those things, is to just sensory sensitive, period, is to take the space and the time to come into right relationship, which means there's not an enemy here. My body's not my enemy, my ears are not my enemy, my children are not my enemy, the sounds are not my enemy. I'm not under attack. But fuck, can it feel like that? And it's okay. And it's like honoring that that's what it feels like. And then like recalibrating myself to, okay, it's okay, I feel this way. I'm not under attack. I'm not being punished. There's nothing wrong with me. This is intense. But my body is just on hyper alert. And for me, this particular experience is on hyper alert because it thought it was going to die 10 days ago. So it's on hyper alert to sound, right? It was really clear, like the day after the break-in, or the attempted break-in, every single sound sounded like it was reverberating out from inside of me. So a chair would like scrape across the floor, and it felt like it was coming out of me, like it was being generated out of me. It was so loud. The phone would ring, and I would jump out of my skin, right? Because the sensory overload was so intense. So it was every single time that this is happening now, my internal dialogue is, it's okay, you're safe, right? I can, just as I said that, there was a shift for me, right? My daughter's still making her breakfast here to my right, and when I said, oh, it's okay, I'm not under attack, I feel less threatened by the noise she's making, right? I'm not being punished. I can look over, see her cutting the banana and tapping her bowl, and see I'm not in danger. I'm not in danger from my son going all over the house. I'm not threatened. I'm okay. And I can do the same thing in any environment. If I'm in a room with 100 million people, I can look around and see that in this moment, I'm safe. I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm just checking you guys, making sure you're still there. I'm okay. Right? I'm not under attack. I'm not in danger. And I can also bow down to the mechanism inside me that clicks, like this hypervigilant awareness. Like, oh my God, am I okay? Am I okay? Am I okay? Is everything all right? Am I good? I can be like, I can think that thing. Because all it is an overstimulated part of my nervous system. It's an overstimulated part of my emotional landscape. And it really, truly loves me. It isn't doing this to hurt me. It isn't doing this to make me a freak. It isn't doing this to make me feel separate from other people or to isolate me. It literally has this idea of protecting me. This is a very loving mechanism. And so that's how I come into right relationship, is in recognizing that this is a very loving mechanism. It's confused. It thinks it needs to protect me from the cereal crunching going on over there. It thinks that it needs to protect me from the music outside or the crowded room. But I don't need that protection. I'm okay. And even as I say these to you, I feel like the little pieces in me go boom, 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 and I come more and more into myself, right? My breathing deepens by itself. I want to take deeper breaths. I feel like my body is relaxing, right? Like there's not as much tension as my neck as there was in the first place. I am not under attack. It's okay, and I'm safe. I'm safe. It's a big thing with sensory overload, is you feel like you're being attacked by the environment. You feel like the noise, the sound, the colors, the touch, the everything. Like, and if you're super sensitive, it's like you can't even wear clothes. You feel like you're under attack by the environment, but you're not. You're really not. And it's okay that you're sensitive. I think that I find the autism spectrum, anything that we're putting labels on, and when I'm talking to you about me, it's a superpower that I have. And we all have it. We can all develop it. We can all develop it. Like upvelop it. I don't know how to say that. So now that I've come to a calm place, I can talk to you about spatial awareness exercises, right? So when you're in an episode, like you go into a public area and there's a lot of sensory input, or the television even sometimes can be too much, right? It feels like the environment is like close, like it's on you, it's in you, and it, right? And it's coming at you. This is what you feel like. You feel like you're always under attack. And some people deal with it differently. Some people completely retreat and isolate. Other people get angry, and you'll like be talking to somebody and they'll be like, ah! And they get angry and they walk off, and you're like, what the hell? But what was really going on is they were having sensory issues and they didn't know how to deal with it. So it seems like they're an asshole, but really they just needed to get away, right? And then you feel, if you're one of those types of people who explodes instead of goes within, you can feel really isolated and really confused, because you do want to connect to other people, but the noise level around you or the sensory stuff isn't allowing you to do that. Being super sensitive to sound was a physical reaction as well. I could hear my heart pounding whilst feeling like my whole body was pulsating vibrations. Yeah, exactly. And then you think there's something wrong with you, and there's just not. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. There's just there's a mechanism within you that and the thing that makes you hurt isn't that you're sensory sensitive. It's that you fight it. You make it wrong. You make yourself wrong. That is what hurts. Yes, it's incredibly intensive, the experience by itself. Add on emotional crap, add on mental attacks, and you're looking at extreme suffering. Just what I'm going through right now. Noticing my spatial awareness. Okay, so I have an elevated spatial awareness. But when it's happening, it feels like it's here. Okay, so how do I start to play? And I do call it play because I'm not trying to be the master of my universe. I'm not trying to be the magician. I'm simply tapping into being the magic. So when the noise comes in at me like this, and I usually do this again when I'm relaxed. I'm this sensory sensitive all the time. When I'm relaxed and I'm not at war with it, I hardly notice it anymore. Okay? When I've had something like a trigger, like the house being broken into, it comes back right up in my face. And I'm, whoa, and I'm reminded, oh yeah, I'm sensory sensitive. So, spatial awareness is, can I move the sound a foot in front of me? Instead of being, whoa, wrapped up all in it, I'm going to move, usually with my eyes closed. It makes it easier for me to spatially, but can I move it just a foot away from me? Can I move the sound bubble a foot away from me? And what does that do? Can I let it back in? Can I move it out? Can I let it back in? Can I move it out? In a room, like a restaurant, where it's like closed and there's a lot of noise, I will do like, I'm going to listen to the right side or the right back side of the room. Bring it back. Now I'm going to extend out the spatial awareness to the right side corner, and then get this way, and then this way. So I start to play with, can I bring myself into a spatial awareness where the sound is, where I mix the sound, like the DJ, boom, 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 instead of being the thing that vibrates with no control, with out of fear in a way, right? So I become the DJ of my experience, and I start to become spatially aware. I can, right now, for example, I can move my spatial awareness outside. There's a plane kind of in the distance. There's birds. So I can hear that a little bit louder than I can hear my son playing in the corner that way. So now I can switch it out, bring this back, and move into the corner where my son is playing. Right? And this alone allows my body, I start to not be focused so much on being attacked or being intense or this isn't fair or I shouldn't be like this, I'm a freak, all those things. And I start to play with my environment. Right? It's like, oh, I have the clothes on my skin. Can I bring myself to the space where I feel like my clothes are a part of my skin? This would be the spatial experience. Clothes are not on my skin, they are my skin. And then can I move my clothes, the perception of the clothes touching my skin, can I move it a foot away from me? Right? So these are the spatial awareness that I'll do. I do it often, but I do it without thinking, right? Because this is just how I operate, and I want to share that with you. How to apply this to my sense of smell. It's OTT at the moment. Okay, what's OTT? Sorry, I'm not. We can do it with smell. I'll do it with you in just a second. You can do it with any sensory aspect of yourself, including spiritual sense, right? The sense of I'm in the body, I'm outside of the body. Michelle, can you tell me what OTT is? I don't know what I'm over the top. Haha! I'm so smart. Okay, so my daughter is smell sensitive too, but she doesn't have the story that it's wrong. So she smells shit like nobody smells. Like before anybody smells it, like miles away. It's crazy pants. But she's never been overwhelmed by it. Older? She's just like, yep, I'm a good smeller. Like it never, it's never been a bad thing for her. So it's really fascinating. So if it's intense for you, like the smell, right? First off, find I'm going to take it to a practical level first. Practical level across the board. Make sure that your physical body is in balance. Like you might want to get your hormones tested. You might want to get your vitamins and minerals tested. They're blood tests that you can take just to see where you're at. It's not as a proof or anything. It's like a measurement to decide if you need to maybe take more magnesium, or usually for me it's amino acids. Even the horrible smells, yeah. Right? What happens when you smell something really nasty? You just...
I don't find it.
You're just like, whatever, it smells bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, it smells bad. Like she's like not giving it any meaning or label of disgust. Odor? Much like an animal.
It's just there, you can't do anything about it.
I love it. So what she just said, it's just there, you can't do anything about it. So why fight it? Right? It's really, really beautiful. She's obviously grown up not having that input that it's wrong or bad that she smells like that. We make everything a superpower around here, including my 8-year-old who is the superpower of sloth. Okay, so what would happen? Here's your spatial awareness. The scent comes into your nose, and you hear yourself go, "Oh my God, that's horrible." Can you separate the smell from that thought? So spatially, just separate them. Like they're Velcroed together right now. And just go pop them apart. Just no judgment of the smell coming in. No label, no meaning. And no, like if it makes you gag, no judgment of that either. It's like, okay, I gagged at that, big deal. Right? Does that make sense? You can also, I've done it like with onions. I don't cry anymore with onions, but it's like, so I can take the sensory, the overload. Onions overload pretty much everybody. So I think it's a really good example. So it's like, I feel, so the onion, like the intensity comes at my face, right? And I can feel myself like getting teary eyed or like nose, whatever. And I just don't fight it. I'm just like, oh, and spatially I can like move the scent distant to myself, or I can go along for the ride and let it come in really close and cry and nose and snot and giggles and all that stuff, right? So there's this ability to spatially extend or extend. I don't know how to explain it. Bring it close or push it away. It's an experiment. Like everything I do, don't expect anything. Just try it. Just experiment with it. Like, what happens if I put the smell over there? What happens if I put the smell behind me? What happens if I put the smell above me? What happens if I put the smell over there? Like, just play with it, right? And notice how magical you are, that you have this spatial ability to spatially move things around in your experience. It was sticky tape chemical smell, so I went to it's not healthy to be inside. Bingo, right? Perfect. I'm in danger. So these are really good, Michelle, because I just had this memory of like before we had the new kitchen and the old oven. I can't remember, what was it? I don't know. There was something, it might have been cleaning stuff in it or something, and I opened the oven, and everything that was in there, the cloud of smoke, the cloud of chemicals or whatever, it came right into me. Like I literally went whoop, and breathed it all in, and it smelled horrible, and my eyes were stinging, and I closed the thing, and I sat down on the floor. And this is emotional alchemy and the awareness of what's happening inside your head. So the first thing was, oh shit, I'm going to get cancer, or I'm going to die, or that we're going to need to call an ambulance, or, you know, the worst case scenario is what my mind started telling me, right? This is the hypervigilant mechanism that exists in all of us. So the first thing that happens in a traumatic event is that the worst case scenario runs through your head. Second thing that happens, blame, shame, and guilt. What the fuck? You shouldn't have opened it. That was stupid. Don't put yourself in these environments. This is going to have repercussions. This is the consequence of being an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Right? So the first thing is to recognize the doom and gloom story and be like, okay, swipe left, which means put it in the trash. Swipe left. The second thing is to recognize the blame, shame, and guilting. Swipe left. I'm done with you. I don't need your help to be protected. And when I've done those two steps, swipe left, I can then become curious. Like, what if everything's okay? What if I'm able to adapt to everything I just inhaled? What if I'm not in the threat, like I'm not in danger? What if none of this is what I think it is? What if my body is already coping perfectly with everything I just inhaled? What if I just trust my body? Right? Now, it doesn't mean I want to hang out in a room full of poison. I'm not suggesting that in any way, shape, or form, but I'm not going to go down the road of, on top of having inhaled this toxic thing, putting on an emotional layer that really makes it worse and a mental layer that makes it worse. The mental layer is the doom, gloom, and worst case scenario bullshit, and the emotional layer is the blame, shame, and guilting, the fear, the that place of anxiety. You don't need those two to be healed, right? We think we do. We think those are they're helpful mechanisms. They're not. They actually will make an illness or trauma more severe in our experience. It's like taking, okay, here, I've talked about my burn before, the burn that I got last April, right? And so those two steps happened. I burned myself really bad. I poured boiling water. Stop thinking I'm going to kill the ferrets. No, it's on their boxes. Exactly. I mean, it doesn't mean that you don't do what you know to do. You know, like with the burn. Here's a good example. So with the burn, I burned myself with boiling hot water. And the first thing, it's so painful. A burn is one of those things that is one of the most painful things to our human nervous systems. It's really fucking intense. So I burned myself. And the first thing in my head was, actually for me, the first thing in my head was blame, shame, and guilt. What the fuck were you doing? You're so stupid. What were you thinking? And I was just like, and I'm holding onto the sink and I'm like, this hurts really bad. And that screaming in my head is hurting me even worse. So I turned to the screaming in my head and said, look, it was an accident. It just happened. And in that moment, literally 40% of my pain left. Like, then I was just left with the physical pain of the injury, which is bad enough by itself. But that added emotional turmoil on top of it was hell. It was hell, and it was terrifying. So it was like, I'm not going to allow this emotional freak out of blame, shame, and guilt. Who's responsible? Who gives a shit? I'm burned. It's just done. It's okay. So I noticed, okay, there's a drop in pain. I still went and put on the right kind of emergency kit for a burn. I didn't not do that. I do what I need to do. Put that on. And then I could begin applying emotional medicine. And the emotional medicine is those what if questions I just talked about. What if I'm not in danger? What if my body's doing everything it needs to do? And I went a step further with my burn, and I said, what if this isn't pain? And every time a picture of worst case scenario would show up, of like I burned myself to the bone, or I was going to be not ever be healed, and it's going to have this horrible scar, swipe left. I'm like, what if that isn't what I think it is? Just swipe left. Whoop, nope. Maybe that's not, maybe I have no fucking clue what this is. Maybe it's not even a burning. What the hell do I know? Maybe my body's doing everything I need it to do. Just moving out the mental and emotional clutter. Okay? Because emotions are magic. They're magic. If I can move the clutter and find the clarity, I have healing instantly. And let me be really clear with this, you guys. Healing is not curing. Although, like in the case of my daughter who's sitting here at the table with me, she did cure herself. And it's possible, but it's not the goal. It's not the goal with healing. Healing is not curing. Healing to me is living in the least amount of pain as possible. So it's being with the pain, if it's chronic pain, if it's this sensory overload, living with it though, like living with it in right relationship. Living with it when so you don't suffer, right? The pain of that burn was enough. I did not need to add suffering to it. And I've told that story before, but after 45 minutes, I no longer had pain. It was a 3rd-degree burn. I had no pain, and it healed in 4 weeks, 5 weeks max. And I had like the very slightest outline. There's no scar. And that was by applying this process. It's spatial awareness. It's swiping left, the stuff that's bullshit. But I can't know. You know, if I'm going to be in a panic, see, this is what I say. If you're going to be fighting your illness, your injury, your sensory overload, you are increasing the amount of stress hormones in your body. If you're fighting cancer, honey, please stop. Stop fighting. Get in cahoots with it. Tell it thank you. It's an overproduction. It's an overactive immune system that has caused you to have cancer. It's a protective mechanism. Slow down. Don't fight it. Because anytime we go into fight, flight, or freeze, the amount of chemicals and neuro things that are in our body, stress hormones, they increase, right? That's not what we need when we want to heal. In order to come into right relationship and healing, again, healing isn't curing, I have to decrease my stress. I have to. And the first step is no more enemies. If you have cancer and you're taking medications, every single time you get that chemo or you take those pills, thank you for existing. Thank you for coming into my body. Thank you, body, for processing the chemotherapy or the ibuprofen or the whatever it is. Come into right relationship with it. Come into, I'm in this together with you. come into, we're all dying, and right now I'm alive, and I'm going to be in right relationship with my body, my emotions, my mind. Since your burn experience, I use burns as practice for the emotional medicine. Oh, it just goes, practice. Best burns I ever had. That's a great way to look at it. But yeah, so you can apply the same exact process to smell, the same exact process to sensory overload. You can apply it to your stories about money. You can apply it to your relationships. Like, this is universal. It's universal, you guys. Like, from when I started this video to now, if you've been here with me through the whole thing, you have maybe also noticed that I've come home. I've come home. I'm no longer agitated. Yes, I'm still very aware that there's a conversation between my two children going over there, but it's no longer, I don't feel threatened by it. I don't feel agitated by it. I don't feel like I'm in danger anymore. I've come into right relationship with it. Okay, I'm overwhelmed. I'm sound sensitive right now. All right. And if I need to go outside, if I need to be by my alone, if I need to plug myself in, then that's what I'll do. I'll take care of me. Right? I'll do what I need to do. I am going to be running an emotional medicine course. It's I'll be doing it for 4 to 5 weeks. I have no opt-in anything right now because I'm up in the air with my technology. I think what I might do is start a Facebook group. Let's call it the Emotional Medicine Launch, where if you're interested in it, just put I'm in below this video, and I'll put you in that group. Nothing. All that is that you're in that group because you want more information about the course. You want to be included in the launch material. The launch material alone, like this video, will be extremely valuable content. Very much worth your time. And that group is where I'll put all those things, and eventually might ask you for your email so that I can send you an email about the course. But it's no obligation. It's just because you want to come in there and you want some more. And when I'm done, with the launch, I've just closed that group. It makes it the easiest to funnel people into that direction so that I can just start talking really more deeply about emotional medicine in a more private setting. So if you want to get into that, say I'm in underneath. I have a feeling I'm going to be talking about a lot of different things, like sensory overload, like the burns, chronic pain and illness, injury, how to come into right relationship, how to live with your disease or your injury or your chronic pain or your sensory overload, minus the blame, shame, and guilt, minus the blame, shame, and guilt and fear about it. Not that you won't feel fear, because it will come, but to be able to be like, I accept that I'm afraid. I accept that I'm afraid right now, and I'm not going to use the mental constructs of blame, shame, and guilt to hurt myself more, right? It's an unconscious process. When it becomes conscious, then you are in the magic. When it's unconscious, you really feel like you need to be in control. You feel like you need to be the magician and find the spells and fix it. When you become the magic, fixing is no longer necessary, and healing is. And again, healing isn't curing. Healing is living with whatever you're living with physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, in right relationship. Not fighting, no more enemies. We don't need any more enemies. Enemies means violence. If I'm going to war with my body, I'm in violence with my body. I'm at war. If I'm fighting cancer, I'm fighting myself. If I'm fighting the disease that I have, I'm at war with myself. When I come into right relationship, things get a lot easier. I feel more easeful in whatever I have. It's not about curing it. Curing isn't always necessary, right? And curing isn't always possible. Let's be honest here, guys. Maybe you have to take thyroid medicine for the rest of your life, right? Because that just happens to be the truth. That's another thing, accepting the truth. I have cancer. I have thyroid problems. I have high blood pressure. Accepting it actually puts you in a better place for solutions for you than fighting it. So let's take this thyroid medicine. You have to take thyroid medicine for the rest of your life, but you're pissed off at the pharmaceutical world and company. You're pissed off at the doctors. You're pissed off that you have to take this medicine. Can you imagine? Let's go through that scenario. I have to take this medicine. And I'm fucking pissed off at the world. I'm pissed off at the pharmaceuticals. I'm pissed off that I have this. I'm pissed at my body. I'm fucking pissed at my thyroid, whether I have it or not. And I'm putting that into my body. Every single time I take that pill. I'm putting anger and violence and war into my body. If you walk away from this video, just this one thing is value, is extreme value. So that's the scenario that I see in 99% of the people that I talk to around emotional medicine is I'm angry at my medicine. I'm angry at my illness. Now, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be fucking fed up with being uncomfortable. That's part of it. It's okay to be angry. It's like telling yourself, it's okay, I'm angry. But if you stay there, you're at war with yourself. So here's the other option. Here's my meds. Wow. I have medication for my thyroid. I'm super grateful for that. But this is an option. Now, I might also be eating well and sleeping well and, to making sure that I'm not stressed out, like finding all the things that I don't need in my life that I'm stressed about. Like, I might also be doing that, but the fact is that right now, I have to take this medicine for my thyroid because I have a thyroid problem right now. So, when I'm going to dump those pills into my hand and I'm going to create a ritual or a prayer, whatever you want to call it. Thank you, medicine. Thank you, medicine, for being here in my life. Thank you for entering into my body. Thank you for supporting my thyroid. And before I take the pill, thank you, body. If it wasn't for your body, the pill wouldn't work. You do understand that, right? They work together. If your body didn't exist, the pill can't work. So you're putting this pill into your body. Thank you, body, for absorbing and using this medicine to the best of its capabilities. Thank you for adapting so fucking well to this medicine and letting it help us. So that medicine and my body and me, we're in cahoots. We're in a fucking friendship. We're BFFs, man. We're like this. Instead of like fighting all the time. Pulling, pushing, anger, mad, war, violence with myself. No. I'm going to be in right relationship. I'm going to be in prayer and ritual with my medicine and with my body and with my disease, with my illness, with whatever it is I have. And be right relationship. I'm right now in this moment with you, have found the right relationship with my auditory sensitivity. I feel calm. I feel in my body. I'm still aware that the sound is happening, but it's no longer feeling like I'm under attack. And that to me is priceless and fucking profound and easy. And after the 4-week course, like, it's yours. Even after this video, if you run with this shit, it's yours. It's free. But it's yours, without a doubt. You can still be working with an entire team of specialists. But this emotional medicine piece, you are it. It's you. But it's a piece that's often missing from the journey. And so I'm being called forth to share it. And so many other things. And now I'm going to go outside and lay in the sun because it's going to rain all week, next week. Fill myself with that vitamin D, which really helps my stress levels. Okay, that's a good one, Michelle. You're welcome, Tom. Thank you. That's a good one. I fail to sort myself out every time I take a sleeping pill. Instead of, oh, thank you that there's a sleeping pill. I had a client who wanted to get off. She was diagnosed with schizophrenic. And she wanted to get off her meds. And I said, well, that's a good goal. Might not be realistic. And it might not be a real thing. But what we can do is we can start doing this emotional alchemy, this emotional medicine piece, and see what happens. Just because I'm doing this, and I do this every day. I've healed so many things, you guys, and I'll talk about that later. Like, so many things. I've watched my children heal things. I learned from my children. So, and healing isn't curing, remember. Like when my burn, after 45 minutes I had no pain, which meant it was healed. But the tissue still had to cycle out. It took 5 weeks, right? This is what I'm talking about. It's okay to take the medicine and be in cahoots with your medicine and also adding in emotional medicine with that. They're not exclusive. This is teamwork, man. This is teamwork. If you have a disease and you have your specialists and you have your therapists and all the different things, that's your team of magic. That's your team of medicine. And all I'm asking is that everybody add in the emotional medicine piece, not exclusive to medication or plant medicine or homeopathics or massage or whatever, but included in. This is you know how I work. This is a we go. This is not about ego, where the pill is separate from the body, from the doctors, from the treatment, from no. This is a we. We go. It's a team. You, when you take that sleeping pill, are a team with the sleeping pill. In that moment, that sleeping pill is your support. How beautiful that it exists. How beautiful that it exists. Like, I'll tell you this, I have the flu. You guys all can hear it, and I've talked about it. And for the first maybe 12 hours, I applied emotional medicine. Emotional medicine is my first point of reference for me. Okay? So I went through the process of accepting it and being with it and not fighting it. And about 12 hours into it, man, I was uncomfortable. And I'm not here to suffer. I'm really not. And so I went and I took something like a flu mix. It's called Neocitron here. I took that. It didn't work so well, so I took ibuprofen. And each time I was just thankful for that medicine, knowing that I'm using it. If I'm going to put it in my body, I'm going to be in right relationship with it, right? So it's not like, again, we're not trying to be the magician. We're not trying to be Jesus and walk on water. We just want to be the magic. And the magic is in being in cahoots, being in right relationship, being tender with yourself, being gentle with yourself, and allowing all your feelings to be there without fighting. I hope that makes sense. You haven't failed because you have a thyroid. You have not failed because you have cancer. You have not failed because you burned yourself. You have not failed because you have sensory overload issues. You have not failed. All of those things are mechanisms within you that care very much about you. If you understand that, it's so much easier. The journey is so much easier. We're all dying. So to get hooked on to, like, I have a disease and I'm going to die, is crazy pants. Because we're all on that journey. All right, guys. Thank you for being here live, or if you tuned in for this long as a replay viewer. If you think this information is valuable, I would love it if you would share it with whoever you think it could help. Thank you. Bye-bye. Now to figure out how to turn off.